Hey everybody, it's Jim, and I apologize. I just realized that my mic was off, and I went back and forth, and we were talking and doing all of our other stuff, and this happens sometimes during a live broadcast. But again, my name is Jim. I am your host for Kitbashing today, and then with me, of course, is Lucas.
Hi.
Luke is my build apprentice. He is also my son. Believe it or not, it's true. But Luke, what do you got in your hands right there?
So, yesterday I was feeling really bored, and this whole coronavirus thing has messed up my life. I wasn't as happy as I usually am. I haven't been laughing as much, but this is what I made. This is actually a homemade guitar, and it actually does work.
Here, hold it up to the microphone so they can hear. So that's really cool, Luke. You found something that was a good way for you to deal with the frustration, because like you said, this has been a situation where nothing has gone the ways we expected it to, right? Mm-hmm. So with nothing going the way that we expected it to, finding ways to cope, finding ways to deal with it is super important. Hi, Ashley. We got Ashley and her family here joining us again. I am very, very excited to talk about today. Today is Free Build Friday. We all love Free Build Friday because it's a day when I get to do something a little different from the norm. Mondays through Thursdays, we build something that you can make out of common household items found in your Made New Maker Kit. What's a Made New Maker Kit? If you don't know, you can find out on our website, madenewOmaha.com/kitbashing. It's a pretty cool kit that has a bunch of components that you can build all sorts of things. We've built catapults, we've built vehicles, we have built all sorts of cool stuff out of this kit, and we have literally dozens more projects already planned up, and potentially hundreds of more projects we can build. So it's really exciting. For those of you who are joining us, the goal is for you to learn something about science, technology, engineering, mathematics, maybe even a little art somewhere in there. And so today, on a Free Build Friday, what happens is I get to talk about the things that I like and the things that I'm doing that maybe we don't have the components in our kit to make this, but this is something that you could create given some information, and usually things are fairly inexpensive to build. This robot doesn't actually cost a whole ton to make, but there is some technical knowledge you need to be able to do it. So we're going to talk about the robot today and how all of that works, and then in addition to that, we're going to talk about plans changing, because plans always change, especially in the last 3 weeks. It feels like the plan has changed every day. Well, you can do this. Oh, well, you can't go to the park. Well, now you can go to the park. I just don't get it sometimes. And so, Luke, what do you think about all the changes that have been going on?
Well, I like to have a plan, and when my plan doesn't work out, I get really frustrated.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's like every single day, so I have a plan for every single day. Like, yesterday on my YouTube channel, I wanted to make a video about the new snapshot, but it didn't work out. So my plan was I would make a different type of video, and that's just how I deal with that's how I deal with not having this. That's how I deal with changing plans.
Right, and plans, it seems like they're always changing. And obviously, like you said at the very beginning of this, your plans changed a whole lot when we got the whole COVID-19 thing with school and with everything else. Maybe for those of you who are watching, that's something that you're dealing with, is how frustrating it is, how upsetting it is, how much it makes you mad when plans change. And I am also one of those people, and I'm sure most of the adults watching would agree that they have been in that situation lately too. It's very hard when you have said, I'm going to do something really cool, and then have that fail. For example, this vehicle. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to put this on the overhead cam while Luke puts the guitar away. And we're going to look at this guy. So this is the made new makerspace. Our friendly little, look, he's even got a little smile. Our friendly little SumoBot. SumoBots are kind of a cool thing. The way that they work, and I'm going to plug this guy in for a second just so you can see. I've got his battery pack here. When they turn on, they wait a few seconds before they can start. There's actually rules for SumoBot competitions. But these robots have to be smart robots. They have to know, they have a sensor on them, and they have sensors underneath them, and they have to know, whoa, when they're running into something. And I think I actually, whoa, hey, there he is. He's worried. You know what's messing with his head? Hang on. What's messing with his head is my mat. So my mat is black, and that mat, he's actually got on the bottom, I'll show you here. So he's got a battery pack right here, and then that battery pack, I was actually going to 3D print a battery storage for the battery. But then if you look up here real close, if you see that sensor, that's a sensor, and there's actually two of them, one at the front of the robot and one at the back of the robot. And the purpose for those sensors is that it looks at the ground, and as he's running across the track, the sumo track is painted black, but then at the very edges of the track, there's a thick white stripe. And when these sensors are running on the black, it sends a signal that says, hey, there's, it's dark, we can't see much anything here. When it crosses something that's light colored or white, then it says, oh, white. And the programming on this guy, which is an Arduino, this little guy's programming will say, okay, we need to back up, we need to stay away from the edge, because with the SumoBot, the way that the competition works is that these robots will battle each other. You'll put two robots in an arena, and they will try to push each other off of the edge. It's kind of like BattleBots. If you ever saw the TV show where two robots compete against each other. And so BattleBots or SumoBots will try to get each other out of the ring. And these guys don't have weapons. Like on the BattleBots show, they have like knives and swords and spinny cutty things. We don't do that.
And fire.
And fire sometimes. Those things are all really cool looking, and it'd be really awesome if we could, but it's unsafe, and we work with kids, and our insurance company would have a heart attack. So we can't do those things. But what we can do is we can build a SumoBot who pushes other robots off of the arena. And so I think what's happening is when you look at my mat, I've got a fairly dark mat, but look, everywhere you go, there are stripes. And so it's probably messing with the programming to say, oh, there's a stripe in front of me, and there's a stripe behind me. What do I do? And so that's something that you have to think about when you program things, like what will happen in a different environment. So about our little guy here, he's pretty awesome. He's actually, the way that we've engineered it, I'm going to take this cam for a second, and I'm going to do a quick close-up with the desk cam. So let me explain some of what you're seeing here with the SumoBot. On the very top, this is called an Arduino Uno. Now this is probably one of the coolest things that we do at the Makerspace, is work with these Arduino Unos. They are able to do, all sorts of magic. I'm going to try to focus it. Sometimes you put it really close to something and then you back out, it focuses. One day I'm going to get a good webcam, folks. Probably not today, but one day. I've got a really nice, thanks to a friend, I've got a really nice host camera and a second camera, but this one, it has issues. Anyway, this Arduino Uno. So what you're looking at is a computer on a little circuit. This little chip here is called an AppMega 328 chip, and that AppMega chip, it has the ability to do some basic computations on it and hold a program. So we can write a program and put it on this chip, and then it will tell the robot what to do. All of these wires go to different components. So some of the wires go to our sensor here. And I know it just looks like a smiley face, but this sensor is actually a sonar sensor, kind of like what bats use. If you look at it closely, if you look inside there, you can see it looks almost like miniature speakers. One side is an emitter that emits a signal, and the other side is a receiver. And so a signal will come out, and then when it gets to something like the camera, it will bounce back at a super high frequency. And then this one says, oh, well, that took me 0.25 seconds for this to get from here to there. So this has to be this far away. And it will figure out the math, and it will tell you how far away it is. And so that's really cool. One of the other things about this robot, hang on, I got to close this. There we go. Is that it also has all the motors and all the drive gears. And I'm going to show you this too. If you look inside, this big thing with the black, and let's see if my camera on the desk cam has... There we go. That's not too bad for focus. So this big thing with the black metal fins, that's a heat sink. And that heat sink is for the controller that comes from the motor. So to drive the wheels, especially if you want them to be strong, you have to send a whole bunch of power into the wheels. And you do that by going through this motor controller. And this motor driver, what it does is when this circuit board, which is kind of like, the circuit board is strong in the sense that it can think. It's smart, but it's not very strong in the sense of strength, physical strength. So this is like, if you imagine like the wimpy nerdy kid, the Arduino is kind of the wimpy nerdy kid. He's not very strong, but he's super smart and he can think about a lot of stuff. This guy down here, he's the control board, the 298L control board. He's kind of the strong man of the bunch. And he's not very smart, but he's super strong. And so from over here, these wires come out and they go to the controller. And when they get to the controller, those wires say, hey, you need to let a whole bunch of power in. And so that's what it does. It opens up and lets the power from the electricity flow to the wheels. And then it takes care of that hard work, while up top, this guy is thinking about, okay, where is an obstacle in my path? It's obviously doesn't think about focusing too much. Good grief. It says, where are the obstacles in my path? Where is the person I'm running towards? And all of that happens, again, inside this little chip right here. That Atmega 328 chip on your Arduino board. So with this robot, and then on the underside, I've talked about this earlier in the show, we have those two sensors, which are really, really cool. And the way that those work are that they have just the same way. If we rotate this again so you can see this guy, how he's got one that sends and one that receives, and then I put a little happy face because, be happy. This is the same way. Now this little brown thing right here, oh look, I've got a pair of tweezers on the table. I can point at stuff. This little guy right here has a special purpose. I'm going to turn it so Luke can see it. Luke, what is this brown thing right here? Do you know what that's called? I think I've shown you before.
Aren't those like the things that make the signal not as powerful?
Yep, and that's called a what? What is it that resists current?
A resistor.
A resistor. That's called a resistor. So he's absolutely correct. So this little guy is a resistor, and what that does is that actually takes the receiver lens, and if you look really close, you'll see there's two lenses. So just like this guy has a speaker and a microphone, basically, which speakers and microphones, they more or less work the exact same way. This has two lenses, and it has, or two LEDs, and one, if I can get it to focus Really, I'm going to get rid of this camera. If anybody has like a super awesome webcam that they don't need anymore, you should totally send it to us, because like seriously, this is crazy. I should be able to focus. There we go. All right. So you have one that sends a signal, and it's transmitting an infrared signal. So we can't see it. It's like when you point a remote control at a TV, it's the same sort of signal. We also have this receiver, which is picking up the signal. That receiver goes to the Arduino and says, "Hey, I just saw light change. You should pay attention." Now this transmitter needs this little resistor in place, and that little resistor, what it does is it lowers the voltage from this guy, our awesome 9-volt battery, to a place that it can deal with the voltage. So that's why the resistor is there. So this, like I said, if you look at this, we've got everything else on this looks pretty well designed. I mean, we have a well-built inner workings here. It's all of the front stuff is well designed. This is good. Why do I have a battery that's just kind of taped on with some gaff tape? So here's what happened with the gaff tape situation. We were designing the robot at the same time that we were planning for our RoboCamp for the summer. And about not quite a week and a half into March, we put the big announcement on our site that we were going to do RoboCamp. And we put the big announcement that we were going to do RoboCamp on the website. We had some people sign up, and then like a couple days later, all of a sudden schools are canceled for the rest of the year. We didn't know then that it was going to be the rest of the year. We knew it was going to be a little while. And then they're talking about a pandemic. And all of these things start happening. And so that changed some big plans. Now, Luke, you've got plans that you had for the rest of the school year. What were some of the plans that you had that got changed?
Well, one of my plans was that during the school year, I was thinking, I really want to write a story about this. So
About what?
It's about, it is a fictional story about a guinea pig named Cran, and the story is called Guinea Pig City.
Oh, okay. So you wanted to write this story during the school year,
Mm-hmm.
and that plan wound up changing, right?
Uh-huh.
What else wound up changing?
Well, I also had a plan to, have a sleepover with one of my friends that moved to a new school,
Mm-hmm.
and he said he wanted to have a sleepover with me by April 7th, but we ended up not being able to do that because this whole COVID-19 thing stopped us from doing sleepovers.
Right. So you had a friend who was going to spend time with you, and you were going to get to do a sleepover, but now because of this pandemic, you aren't able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So you've had some things, and I've had some things too. I mean, our entire camp where we were building these robots has drastically changed. I've kept one camp in the books for the end. I want to say it's the end of July. It was the one that we had somebody who signed up, because it was like literally, here's the day that we put the announcement for the camp. 1 day, 2 day, school's closed. Like, it was that quick. And so we've only had the one sign up on the site so far. I kept that date on the books because it's the end of July, and if we have more people sign up, we will do the RoboCamp. But even if we have that one camp, it messes up a whole lot of other stuff, because we were going to have an entire SumoBot championship where we had all of these robots from the whole summer. So it would have been like 100 robots coming together for a big championship where there'd be prizes and there'd be money and there'd be food and bounce castles and all sorts of cool stuff. And that's gone out the window. You know, we're not going to be able to put that on now because even if we manage to pull off this one camp, we're hopeful that all this will end. We won't be able to do that. Luke, when the plans changed, how did it make you feel?
It made me feel very sad, but not only sad, but it also made me frustrated because I do not like plans to change.
Right. Well, and I don't either. And so it made you frustrated and it made you sad. Do you think it sometimes maybe you were even a little angry about the plans being changed?
Yeah, I was like, great. There's this big pandemic that's gonna stop me from writing this story that I've really wanted to write and show my teacher about it. And it's going to stop me from having a sleepover with one of my friends. And it's going to, and that list just keeps going.
Right.
But the thing about that story is I was still able to start writing it. I got the first paragraph in the rough draft done, but I'm planning on finishing that story at home so that I can at least finish it and show it to my teacher next school year.
Oh, that's good. Well, and that's the thing. And that's something I think is really important when we're dealing with frustration. We need to find ways to do other things. So you talked about, Luke, how you still wrote your story. What other things have you done that have helped you deal with being frustrated?
Well, whenever I'm bored, I just got my bedroom just got moved to the basement. So whenever I'm frustrated, I go down to my room and I sit in my closet and read a book.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea. And so you've got things you can do. And that's important. When you are frustrated, you need to find a way to deal with that. Whether that's reading a book or singing out loud or going in your backyard and kicking the soccer ball as hard as you can, you've got to find a way to deal with frustration. You can also take that frustration, you can turn it into something good. Luke, what have we been doing the last several days here at the Makerspace?
We have been making a whole bunch of maker kits and giving them away. So far we have sold 133 kits.
Yep.
And that is all that we have made so far, so we've got to make some more.
We've sold or given away 133 kits, and we have that many orders have come in. And we actually, so this is something that we did when we were talking about how frustrated we are at everything happening. I got together with the other adults that run Made New, my committee of leaders, and we said, how can we do the best things for our community here? And what we came back with was, hey, let's take care of the youth in Omaha. Let's create a maker kit where they can come in and they can experience some STEM skills, and maybe on a Friday sometime I'll come and talk about life. It's my show. I can do whatever I want. But we said we're going to make a difference. And so we started ordering things and buying things. And actually today, I had my desk cam pointed there earlier, but if you look over here, we had another shipment come in today of more things for this whole project that we're working on. So we have the maker kits, but then what did we just start producing in the last few days, Luke? What sort of stuff were we making now?
We're starting to make masks and face shields for the masks we can sell those and give them away to people who need to go to stores to since people are supposed to be wearing masks whenever they go out now. So So at this makerspace, we are making masks for the people who have to go to the grocery store, and we're making face shields for all the doctors who have to deal with a patient with COVID-19, and yeah.
Yep, we're making a lot of different things, and we're even making the hair clippies that allow you to put a piece behind your head to hold your masks, so that the masks don't cut your ears when. And I've got my disposable mask that has been used, but I'm not throwing it away because I need it for examples. So when you have these pulling on your ears all day, that really starts to hurt. And we've got a 4-year-old who has medical needs, and we have nurses that come into our house. When those nurses come in, I've been giving them the clips, and they love it because some of them, they've literally have red marks on their ears, and they're in pain from wearing these all day, because now the rules that you have to wear these your entire shift when you're working. And so that's kind of painful. So we're trying to help the helpers. And we said, we're going to take all the bad stuff that's happening, and we're going to find a way to make it better for everybody. And when you're dealing with frustration, sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to say, how can I help? How can I step up and be a helper? And that's really what I wanted to talk about today for this Free Build Friday. How do you deal with frustration? What sort of frustrations have you been going through? And I want to open this up to say that you're welcome to send me messages and talk to me about this stuff if you want. You know, obviously, if you're a kid, make sure you've got your parents' permission and they know about it. But in the past, I've been a crisis counselor, and I've helped people deal with emergencies. And I can probably point you towards somebody if I can't help you deal with your emotions yourself. But if you ever want to reach out to somebody and just say, hey, I don't know what's going on in my life, I'm frustrated, I'm confused, you can email us at kitbashing@madentomomaha.com. That's our email for this program, and we would be very glad to take a minute and to try to help you deal with stuff that's in your life. If you are scared, if you're anxious, if you're angry, those are emotions we have to deal with. So there's an option for you. You can also, again, you can visit our website and you can contact us through there, madentomomaha.com/kitbashing. And then you can even go onto our Facebook page and you can send us a message on Facebook and say, hey, I just want to talk, because we might not be able to do, you know, the best counseling. We're here to be makers. We're here to be helpers. We're not here to be counselors, but we might be able to get you set up with somebody or help you come up with a way to talk to your family about how you're feeling. And so those are some options that you have. Work on taking care of yourself. Make some time for you. This is kind of a short video for this Free Build Friday. It's still 30 minutes long, but you know, some of our videos have been almost an hour long lately. Monday, we have some really cool stuff coming up. So on Monday, we're going to get back into our kits, and we're going to start building some really cool stuff. We might next week, if I can work out the details over the weekend, we might be working on a rubber band powered helicopter. If you are interested in submitting your own builds for kit bashing and say, hey, here's something cool I made out of the kit that you should show others how to build, you can send us emails at kitbashing@madentomomaha.com. We love to get those emails. Send me pictures of your builds. If you have built something, I love seeing those. And so again, as I said before at the beginning of the show, my name is Jim. I am the host of Kit Bashing. With me today, chewing on his gummy bears, is Lucas.
They're called Sour Patch Bunnies.
Oh, Sour Patch, yes. That is important to know the difference. And you guys have been watching Kit Bashing. Thanks for tuning in for this special, somewhat different episode. We'll see you Monday for a fresh build that's going to be awesome. Bye-bye.